In today's video we're looking at this nasty dent damage on the rear door of this Volkswagen Golf. Now as you can see, it's quite a dent and there's a lot going on with this one. There's a whole load of tension, we've got crowns, we've got shoulders, we've got a secondary dent, a third dent lower down, and most importantly that kink across the body line. You can see it's pinched it, so we've got damage above and below the body line. So I've definitely got my work cut out for me today. So I've started off by marking up the panel. You can see I've got this semicircle above the dent, that's indicating the primary crown, but I've also circled a second and a third dent. Now I'm not sure if these were all caused at the same time, but I'm going to work across the whole panel and just make sure we take out all of the dent damage. And with my line board set up here, you can just see how much tension there is. We've got shoulders surrounding that crease dent, leading up towards the top of the panel. We've got that nasty crown at the top, so this is where I'm really going to start releasing some of the tension before I can even think about pushing the lows. To start releasing the tension, I'm going to use this crow carb tap down. As you can see, it's got a little leather tip on it and just a few gentle taps with a hammer to just start getting some movement in the metal. You can probably just pick out the reflection of the panel just above the area that I'm working and seeing it as it flex with the impact. So as I start to release the tension, the panel starts to flex more, showing me that it's starting to soften up and I'm starting to get some metal movement. Constantly realigning my board just to make sure I can really focus and see any of the high spots of tension, the crowns and the shoulders surrounding this dent. At this early stage of the repair, I'm not looking to remove all of that tension or tap it down perfectly. I just want to soften it up to make it a little bit easier when I get a tool behind to start pushing. I don't want the repair to lock up, so it's really important to keep an eye on that tension throughout the repair. To help me move some of this metal, I want to use my double bend bar. It's a lot stronger, a lot more pushing power than some of my door bars. But to do this, I've had to remove the rubber weather strip that sits across the top of the door skin. Just opened up the gap wide enough to be able to get my tool in there. And now that I've softened up some of that metal, I can just start doing some gentle pushes and just see what the panel gives me. It's quite a bright day today, so I'm just using my standard reflector board as opposed to the Elimident lens. This really helps highlight some of the highs and lows. So at this stage I've now moved my line board to kind of run parallel with the lines, so whilst I'm above looking down at my reflection, it really helps me see that I'm hitting those centre points. A repair like this definitely takes patience and can often look a little bit worse before it looks better. So I'm working relatively quickly at this stage, just trying to get the general shape back into the panel, put the strength back into the places where it needs it. There will be a whole load of tapping around and some fine tuning as we go through the process. And when you're carrying out a repair like this, it's easy to get into a zone, but I think it's very important to jump up, take away the line board altogether and just have a look at that natural light. So right now I'm looking at the natural reflection against those trees and we can see the repair is looking a little bit messy. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time clearing up my work and just tapping down some of those high spots I've created during the pushing process. Now this goes on for a little while, so I'll just speed it up, but you can see my movement and how often I'm moving that line board around during that cleanup process. And then we'll have a look at it again, this time with the line board, and you can see it's just a little bit cleaner, a little bit clearer to read. And then I'm just trying to indicate here where that primary crown was. So you can see that I've removed the majority of it, but now that I'm starting to restore the shape of the panel back in, you can perhaps just pick up a very slight indication there is still a bit of tension in that crown area. So as I said at the beginning, it's important to keep an eye on the tension throughout the repair and just make sure that as that metal starts to move, we can really know where the tension is being held so we can release it, which will allow the low spots or the kind of depth of the dent to move with our pushes. So using my strong double bend bar, I'm really able to get a good amount of leverage and really start to push the metal with this repair. It's fairly tough and stretched across that body line, so it does take a fair bit of effort still. So repeating that process of pushing and tapping down my high spots, I can then have another look at it again with the line board reflector and just make sure that I'm keeping the repair in the right kind of direction that I want it to be going. So it's all about getting the kind of rough shape out, trying to get that panel back to kind of 80-90% there, so I can really start to focus on those specific kind of pain points, those low spots and the tension around that body line. So now that I've got the majority of the shape back, I can really focus on pushing that line out myself. It's so important when you've got a defined line like these ones to really get that line to read nice and crisp. Any kind of distortion on there and it's really going to let down the repair once the customer comes out to check your work. So I like to kind of work the damage towards that body line, but making sure that I can really keep that body line nice and crisp once it comes to the end of the repair process. And now with my line board back at this position, running parallel or horizontal with the door panel, we can just pick up some of that original primary crown. So as I say, it's so important throughout the repair process just to keep an eye and keep cross-checking your work from each of the points. You may have already think that you've removed that crown fully or released all of the tension, but as you start moving the metal around, you can see here as the whole skin starts to move, even though I'm working that lower dent. By the time I come back up to the top section of the skin, some of the tension may have moved around, which is why it's so important to keep cross-checking your work throughout the repair process. And then once I've taken out this dent below the primary damage, I'm just going to take out this tiny little dent above the body line. So I'm probably about the halfway point through my main kind of repair across the body line, but I always think it's nice to kind of, when you've got the opportunity, like a small little ding like this, to kind of jump up, reset your eyes, reset your kind of body position, and also if you're just starting off, this is a great way to build your confidence during a complex repair. If you can just take out a tiny little ding, take it out nice and clean and nice and quick, it really kind of builds up your confidence, your momentum, so you can come back to the main repair refocused to really start pushing for perfection. And then stopping once again to kind of assess the overall panel so far. So we've got that customer view, i.e. without the line board, any kind of reflector or lens, just having a look at the overall shape and design of that panel. And once we look back on ourselves towards the rear of the vehicle, you can see we've still got a fair amount of distortion both above and below that body line. So I'm switching to a slightly sharper tip now on the end of my double bend bar. It's by no means sharp, but it's a plastic bullet tip. So this allows me to get a little bit more accuracy when picking up some of the lows. So I'm currently working about an inch or two above the body line, and I'm just kind of connecting those low spots, so kind of joining the dots if you like. But I'm going to speed up this next part of the process and you can see the overall movement. Primarily I am working down towards that body line, picking out those lows, kind of joining up the dots, and I'm focusing on that center point, that main crease line running vertically down. But as I get down towards the body line, also a little bit of time spent to the left and the right, really kind of trying to tighten up the skin around that body line itself. And then bringing back to a normal speed, we can see with the line board set up like this, I'm really starting to get all of those lines to read through again. So I'm just working on that kind of micro distortion that remains throughout the panel, and this is where the real kind of finesse work comes in, the real patience. Any kind of repair, it's all about the finishing. So you can move a lot of metal relatively quickly, but what really takes the time and the skill is to be able to finish a repair to a high standard. So I've edited this video down to be able to release it here on YouTube, but the full repair tutorial is available for our members within our Learn PDR Online community. So including this video, we now have 125 free videos for you here on our YouTube channel. I really hope you enjoy my channel, I hope it inspires you, and most importantly that you're able to learn some of the fundamental skills in how to remove dents like this with paintless dent removal tools and techniques. If you are looking to take it up a level and actually learn how to create, run and grow your very own paintless dent removal business, do come over and check us out at learnpdronline.com. We do have hundreds of videos that have never been released on YouTube, but it's more than just a load of training videos. Within our membership we also have the PDR path. Now this is my own step-by-step approach into the order that I think you should learn paintless dent removal. So we start from the very basic skills, move on for all the fundamental and understanding of PDR as a whole, and then gradually move through step by step to start taking on medium and more complex repairs. We talk about tools and the kind of progression and how to start and really kind of set up your very own PDR business. But one of my favourite features at Learn PDR Online is our members only forum. We're now in over 20 countries and that is huge for me. I'm able to discuss the different kind of tools and techniques all around the world and really help our members grow. Everybody learns at a different pace and we've all got different kind of aspects and aspirations as to what it is we're trying to achieve by learning paintless dent removal. So if you're interested to take it up to the next level, learn a little bit more about how to get into the industry, the tools and techniques that you really need and how to build your very own business, have a chat with me directly at learnpdronline.com to see how I can really help you learn the skills you need. So now back to the training video. You can see we're just finishing up and the repair is coming out really well. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget you can give us a thumbs up if you have. You can subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with every video release we do. By all means do leave your comments below. I do try and respond to every comment we get. And that's it for me, so I'll see you in the next one.